Well, as a matter of fact, join me every Monday at 10 for auto repair with personal care here on The Source. Of course you do.
Ocala's information station, 1370 WOCA.
Ocala.
Byrnes is in the studio from CareerSource. Citrus, Levy, Marion. We're having a very deep discussion off the air about Cheetos flavored ice cream. And Laura is here once again, as she is every now and then, every 2 weeks or something like that.
First and third.
First and third.
Thank you, Robin.
so that we understand that there's a place called CareerSource where you can go and find a job, or you can go and find an employee, and it costs nothing for either one of you.
That is absolutely correct.
So,
that's perfect elevator speech there. That works for me.
That's right.
And it's great you point that out. I was just out at On Top of the World yesterday, and I don't know if you remember Lori Schloss. She was the HR manager who was our guest a couple times ago, and she was here. And so I was out there talking with her for one of our employer success stories. And they hired two high-level managers through what we call our on-the-job training program. And that's where, and we've talked about this before, you might find someone who is just an awesome person. You feel that they're going to really meld in with the corporate culture. They might have great academic credentials, but maybe not the experience, or vice versa. But you really want to give them a chance. But, it's a little dicey because it's expensive to onboard, to recruit and hire and get a new employee oriented and running. And then what happens if they don't turn out? So the beauty of the on-the-job training is that CareerSource, Citrus, Levy, Marion, will pay up to a certain amount for, I believe, up to 4 months worth of a training program that you as the employer develop. I mean, we're not coming down saying this is what you have to do.
You wouldn't be able to, really.
No, we will work with you if you need assistance in coming up with a really meaningful, substantive training program. But so that's what On Top of the World did. And they also had a few hiring events through us, one out at their site and one at our career center here over on 14th Street. And Lori was saying how this was fantastic because they had this steady flow of qualified job candidates come through, and they hired 20 people that day who were on the job the next day. Can you imagine? I mean, they were vetted, everything, and on the job, getting orientation the very next day. 20 employers, boom. So, Mr. or Mrs. Employer, if you need to hire some new staff, whether it's 1 or 100, we have resources that can definitely assist you.
Wow. Would you ever help, or could CareerSource help an employer that was going to hire people for a temporary amount of time?
Oh, sure.
Oh, you could?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, I think you find that most people do want full-time employment, and in Marion County, the majority of job open positions are for full-time.
Right.
I think it's around 78%. It varies between 75 and 80% of the positions are full-time, and then you have a smaller percentage for part-time, and then there's like a 9% are consultant kind of contract. Yeah.
Well, the reason I'm asking is because there's a locksmith who comes on and does a show, and he had a big job down in Orlando, and the big job required some help, so he had to get some help, and he hired some people that he thought he was helping out. They were actually 3 homeless people.
Veterans.
Two of which did pretty good, and the other one really didn't turn out so well, and he ended up having to fire him. Yeah. And I was thinking, gosh, too bad you couldn't have had somebody screen them like CareerSource in advance.
Well, we are part of the CareerSource Florida network. There are 24 areas throughout Florida that are just like us. They're all CareerSource. And the one that would be in Orlando is CareerSource of Central Florida, and they do what we do. And we we partner with them for different things in Sumter and Lake County, just as we partnered with CareerSource Florida Crown. That's Gilchrist and Dixie and those counties.
I like that name.
Yeah, we talk. Yes, I like it too. I want that name. For a very, very, very successful job fair that we had in Chiefland late last month, and that was just outstanding response from employers and from job seekers. So you don't have a lot of job fairs in Levy County, so that was wonderful. And we're going to really basically turn around and do it again next month, not the same thing, but on October 15th. We will be, because next month, October, is National Manufacturing Month. October 2nd is National Manufacturing Day, and the Mid-Florida Regional Manufacturers Association, which encompasses Marion County and Citrus County and all over the place. They have a number of different events, such as manufacturing tours, working with students. It's a really fantastic day of celebration and public awareness. But the whole month is Manufacturing Month. And so the CareerSource system, we are all, I think 23 of the 24 areas are having job fairs, either, not necessarily on the same day. We are having ours all on October 15th. So there will be one in Levy County, one in Citrus County, and the one here in Marion County will be from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. at the Klein Center here at CF. There's Joe. Hi, Joe.
Do you know what I wonder? This is kind of a side question, I suppose, but do you have a sense, because of working so closely with employers, of the ratio, I guess, between tourism jobs and non-tourism jobs? It seems like when you come in here, in fact, I don't think you've ever brought us any tourism jobs. They're all manufacturing or service-oriented, which a tourism job is service-oriented, I guess.
I mean...
or hospitality jobs.
Hospitality and leisure is certainly one of the industry sectors. I don't have the data on it off the top of my head, but on our website, on our news release for the most recent employment numbers, it has a breakdown on where we grew in leisure and hospitality. I would say that by and large, the majority of the, because healthcare is huge.
Right.
Anything transportation, utilities, let's see, I wrote some transportation, trade, utilities, manufacturing, professional and business services, even government. Those are really large in popularity. I don't, off the top of my head, have numbers on.
But it just seems on the surface that and maybe it's because this is Citrus, Levy, and Marion, and not Orlando.
Right.
So we have a lot of good jobs with good benefits that have nothing to do with what is considered Florida's biggest industry, or second biggest. I guess tourism is behind citrus.
I don't know.
I always heard that citrus was the big.
Maybe. And also tourism jobs can tend to be seasonal. And that's why typically in the summer, that's one of the drivers behind what we call the summer slump, or the summer spike, which is the same thing. That's where typically the unemployment rate is going to go up in June and July, usually peaks in July, starts coming back down. And in the vast majority of situations, and I tracked this back to 1990 or 1991, I looked at every single year, and I'm talking whether we were in a recessionary type economy or a boom economy. So whether our unemployment rate is high or low, in the 3 to 4% range. It doesn't matter how great the economy is. We're always going to have that summer spike. And in the 80% of the cases, the notable exception was during the Great Recession that we just had, it returns to the pre-summer spike level or below by September, October. So we're hoping to see some movement, with the unemployment numbers that come out this Friday, but those will be for August. So the truest measure is really going to be in October with the September numbers.
Okay, let's take that little break that you can hear the cue for. You probably can because you don't have your headset on.
I don't.
But we do have a cue coming in. All right, we'll take a little break and be right back with Laura. The phone lines are open. If you have a question about getting a job through CareerSource, or if you're an employer, how to find an already screened employee, that's huge. That saves you a lot of time. We'll be right back.
The weather is brought to you by myfwc.com. Safe boating is no accident. For today, more clouds and sun, along with a couple of showers and thunderstorms, high 82 to 86. There'll be a shower and thunderstorm around tonight. Otherwise, mostly cloudy skies overnight, low 71 to 75. For tomorrow, considerable cloudiness with a couple of showers and heavy thunderstorms around, high 82 to 86. And for Friday, variable cloudiness with a couple of showers and thunderstorms, high 85 to 89. From the Florida Weather Center, I'm Joe Lundberg.
Ooh, ouch. Does pain have you glued to the couch? Yes, unfortunately it's true that every year we must get older, but that doesn't mean we have to deal with pain in our back, knees, or shoulder. If your muscles and joints are sore, don't worry anymore. Come get acupuncture from me and you'll be pain-free. Acupuncture starts as low as $35 at a Better You Healthcare. Call me, Dr. Erica Olstein, at 615-5566. Stop your pain from driving you insane.
If you're anything like I was, the thought of getting older was the last thing on your mind. But here we are. For me, it started slowly. The lack of energy, never being in the mood. And when I was, I could never perform at my best. I tried the pills and other treatments with minimal results, and all but given up on my sex life. Then I found the doctors at New Male Medical Center. Wow, they made a new male out of me. Feel like I'm 25 again. I have renewed vigor, so much more energy, and no longer worry about my performance. New Male treated me like my situation was one of a kind, with a custom treatment plan that really works. I feel great. They can create one for you too. It does not matter if you suffer from low testosterone, erectile dysfunction, or just want to last longer. New Male will help you.
Call New Male Medical Center today at 352-404-4779. 352-404-4779. That's 352-404-4779. It will change your life. 352-404-4779.
Hey, Matt, I know Sunrise Automotive does auto stuff, but I need some tires for my truck. Can you recommend someone?
Yes, I can. We do that.
No, I mean, I need them installed and balanced and all that.
Yep, we do that.
Well, my son needed his windows tinted.
Yep, we do that.
I need my
too.
seat replaced.
Yep, we do that too.
I need a new roof line, and a new spoiler, and a new trunk.
We can even do that too.
Okay, I get it. I suppose you can also do a radio show too, huh?
Well, as a matter of fact, join me every Monday at 10 for auto repair with personal care here on The Source.
Of course you do.
Good credits, bad credits. It's none of our business because we're not an auto dealer. We're not a bank. We're not your mother. We're OcalaForSale.com. Marion County's marketplace for cars, trucks, and SUVs. We've got thousands of sellers standing by to take your call. No middleman. But hurry, don't walk, don't run. Just sit down and log on to OcalaForSale.com. Prices and inventory change daily. Offer does not include dealer upcharge. Undercutting, rust-proofing, factory surcharge, or delivery fee. See website for details.
12 minutes before 10 o'clock. You know what? When I was a kid, I got a job at Kuhn's Company delivering furniture. And I got the job through an employment agency here in town. And I think I had to pay 1 week's salary to the agency. But it was a good thing because I wouldn't have found this job without. And Kuhn's Company benefited because they didn't have to worry about screening me. But it took a while for me to pay. I think I paid for over 10 weeks, 1/10 of it a week. So
Same thing with me when I came to Florida back in 1984, and I got a job. just really. But I had to pay the agency 1 or 2 weeks' salary, kind of situation. And nowadays there are a lot of employment agencies, and the way it works is the employer pays for it, not the employee. But of course, we don't charge
CareerSource, everybody gets a freebie.
Well, it's not free. I mean,
it's not
these
free.
are funded, and these are your tax-paying dollars at work.
Right.
So why not use them? Take advantage of it.
Goodness,
Definitely. I did want to talk a little bit about, because the unemployment numbers will be coming out Friday for the month of August, because it's always a month behind. But just to remind people where we are, even though unemployment just just edged up a little bit in July. We're at 6.6%. And I want to remind you that at one point, not too many years ago, we were nearly 15% here in Marion County. So 6.6%, that is pretty darn close to what they consider full employment. You're always going to have a very motile workforce, labor force. So, it's coming down. The Ocala MSA, Metropolitan Statistical Area, job growth of the year, 3%, and that's the 8th highest amongst Florida metros in the state. And we're typically in, the top 5. We've been first, we've been third. It changes from month to month because it's a rolling over the year average. So, but that's pretty good. Job growth is awfully good. I wanted to note that in terms of manufacturing job growth, 5.5% increase over the year. That's the 3rd highest in Florida. Trade, transportation, utilities up 5% over the year, 4th highest. Professional and business services up 4.3% job growth. That's the 6th highest. And government at 2.3% increase. That's the 4th highest. And not too many months ago, I would come in here and say, our job growth would be so much higher, but we're seeing 12%, 15% drops over the year in government as they tighten and tighten and tighten. But now, I don't know what it means that we're seeing it go in the other direction. We're seeing increases.
Would CareerSource work with the mom and pop that only needs one employee? Would you? Yeah, you could, huh?
Sure. You have to be an eligible. It depends. There are just so many different services, and depending on what industry you are in, and what the position is, you can get the full. The full menu of services. The Workforce Innovation and Opportunity Act, which took effect July 1st and replaced the old Workforce Investment Act of 1998, forces us to do business a little differently. Instead of providing everything to everyone who wants it, being all things to all people at all times, we really need to hone in on key industries, the ones that really drive our local economy.
Oh, what does that mean?
Well, those industries for our area are manufacturing, transportation and logistics, healthcare, information technology, and software. So if you are a business within that realm, you get that full menu of the candidate assessments.
Well, that sort of answers my question from before. There was no hospitality mentioned in there. So.
No hospitality mentioned. However, if you are a hospitality and you want to hire a nursing staff, because at your facility, say Silver Springs Attraction, and you have on-staff nursing, that's a healthcare position. So that position would qualify for that full gamut. If you are a bank and you want to bring on new IT staff, that's IT. So it's not, you don't have to be an IT company.
I got you. So would a truck driver be considered manufacturing?
Could be logistics. Be more logistics. Okay. The getting R&L carriers. That's definitely transportation and logistics.
Right.
That sort of thing.
And with the Christmas season coming up, then there should be a spike in retail hiring. Then
that is typically we see that starting in October. You start to see a lot of. I can't
believe that word even was mentioned right now. Christmas.
Oh, it's commercials are on. I was told that on Labor Day, a certain big box retailer had layaway commercials for Christmas, and I'm going, oh no!
The ornaments are out in the card stores.
Yes,
too.
The ornaments
are
out.
In July.
It's like, oh my gosh! I'm just finally kind of making that transition from summer decorating to fall decor at home. I can't go any further than that.
What's nice about you, Laura, is that you will release those reports and you email it to us, and then we always put it on the WOCA Facebook page so people can look at it in full detail.
Absolutely, and we have that on our website. I typically post it on all our social media as well, so you can get access to. It does a very deep dive into all the numbers, but and that's going to be coming out this Friday on the 18th. So,
any specific jobs you want to spotlight today, or?
Well, no, you caught me flat-footed.
I'm sorry. Any specific employers? Maybe.
Just
the job fair.
the job fair is coming up. We have 3 of them, and that's going to be kind of major. And there's even some more in the works for the following month. So we've had just a crazy amount of, not crazy, but an excellent amount of hiring events at our centers, and it's tapered off just a little bit. We have a couple that you can find on our calendar of events at CareerSource, and we have dozens and dozens of free workshops as well.
Let's go back to what you were talking about earlier, the program where actually CareerSource will pay for somebody to have work on the job.
Mm-hmm.
What do you call it? Training?
Right.
On-the-job training. Okay. So let's say you're there for the 12 weeks and that person isn't fitting in with the culture. That doesn't mean they're doing a bad job, but for some reason, there's something that's not clicking. Who tells who? Does the boss tell you, Johnny's a nice guy, but he's not, he doesn't.
Yeah, I mean.
And then what do you do? Tell Johnny, we got something else for you. What do you do?
I would say, it is our desire that once you've gone through the on-the-job training, because really everything, the employer's in the driver's seat with that. It is, you pick the employer. We don't say, here's your guy or gal.
Right.
We make sure you have vetted candidates. You interview them and you make your hiring selection. We don't force anyone on you from the, we give you a pool of qualified candidates up to a point. They're qualified. And you create the training program. So the onus is on the employer to, get them trained, and, sometimes things don't work out. We understand that. But certainly the goal is at the end of whatever that period is.
Right,
and not all training programs are going to be 4 months. Some are 2 months. Some are 3 months. Whatever is an appropriate training for that position. Hopefully they're hired full-time, like Lori hired the 2, an operations manager and a customer service manager out at On Top of the World through our OJT.
Do the age discrimination laws sometimes prevent you from putting the best person in? Like, for example, let's say there's a 60-year-old guy, and he'd be a little bit handicapped because of his age. That'd be me. and, okay, I'm using myself as an example. But let's say picking watermelons or something like that. Maybe I wouldn't be as good at it as a 20-year-old guy, okay? But because of age discrimination laws, you have to give me an opportunity to do the job. And you know darn well I'm not going to do good as the 20-year-old kid.
Well, look, we are tasked with working with populations that aren't necessarily the easiest to place. In addition to general job seekers, we're working with people with barriers to employment. Maybe they have a criminal, record. Maybe there's some disability situation. Maybe age is a factor. Maybe youth. It
could go the other way. Yeah.
So that is sort of bread and butter for us. And I am not the placement specialist. I'm not the HR professional.
Okay, all right.
We do have, our staff is filled with HR professionals, and they work with that. They're very conversant with the laws, and they work with that on the front line every day.
That's a satisfying answer, because what it sounds like is that if, let's say I was to go for the watermelon picking job, and you were to say to me, or that the placement specialist would say, I got something you probably would like better, and persuade me so that nobody's feeling discriminated against.
Sure. And what we do with our candidates is we have all kinds of skills assessments, and to find out, okay, you have this set of experience and skills. How can that transfer? Laterally to other positions that you might not have even considered.
Right. Like doing this radio job, I'd probably be good as the announcer in Walmart.
Sure.
Shoppers, we have a special in aisle 4.
Yeah, or clean up in aisle 6.
Clean up, yeah.
Yeah, definitely. I want to just sneak in one little infomercial for something other. CareerSource is one of United Way of Marion County's pace setter companies, and we've completed our annual campaign. But the actual campaign kicks off tomorrow.
Okay.
And we're doing what's called positive picketing. We're having different locations. We have volunteers. We'll be holding up signs saying, this is what one can do for United Way. It just takes one to pay it forward to do something. And I believe we have a group that's going to be doing some positive picketing outside the food court tomorrow.
Oh, really? Tomorrow?
At 10 a.m.
Oh, really?
Oh, really?
Do we get money during that?
No, you don't have to. But I mean, there are calls to action.
But they're asking for money.
Yeah, I mean, they're just, it's an awareness campaign.
So we'll have to mention it. 10 o'clock tomorrow. Okay.
Definitely. And Mike and Scott Plumbing.
Mike Scott Plumbing.
Mike Scott.
Yeah.
My son's names, Mike and Scott. So I thought
just so you mentioned that.
Just interesting.
You want a couple more to take with you? That way you can have it.
That's kind of cool. Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
Anyway.
You're always fun, Laura.
Hey, Dave.
Hey, good morning,
Good
guys.
morning.
Laura Byrnes, thank you so much. CareerSourceCLM.com is the website.
That is correct, sir.
Thank you, Laura.
Thank you.
We'll be right back.
Thanks.
Broadcasting from the Paddock Mall Studios, this is WOCA, Ocala, Gainesville, The Villages, 1370 AM, 96.3 FM.